Welcome to the Rowan's Podcast. I am the Rowan. Thank you for stopping by for episode number 3. If you are a regular, thank you for coming back. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy your time you have with me chatting. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, get in a comfy chair, sit back, and we'll chat. On episode 2, I left a poll to see what anybody might be interested in for next episodes, and the choices were like more on ADHD or a different subject or possibly having a guest on, and overwhelmingly 100% was more ADHD content. However, I will let you know we only had one vote, but that one vote does matter. So we are going to be doing more ADHD today. I know last episode I had thought that maybe I could do one with my husband on board, how he deals with me or how we deal together as a couple with it, but he does not want to participate, so that is fine. I'm not upset with that. My best friend suggested that I have one with my kids. And unfortunately, most of my kids do not live with me, and they live not really close by. The one child of ours that still lives at home, he has politely declined. So, yeah, that's a no-go too. But I do have ideas in mind for having some guests on, though, with a completely different subject. So keep a lookout for that. So that will be as soon as I can get somebody to agree. Hey, if you know me and you want to be on board and you have a subject you want to talk about, let me know and we'll get together. Either comment below or message me, text me, or call me. Those of you who know me should have my phone number or know how to get a hold of me. So, also, I want to say I apologize again. Yes, I'm doing laundry. Today was a very big, productive day today, with doing housework, getting things cleaned up, a little bit of Christmas decorating done, even though I'm extremely late on it. But, and I don't want to shut off my dryer, because if I shut off my dryer, well, actually that is the last load, but I'll forget about it and I'll sit there in the mold. So better be safe than sorry. But yeah, usually for me, I have put the Christmas tree up the day before Thanksgiving, and usually before Thanksgiving, I've kind of like sprinkled a little bit of Christmas cheer here and there throughout the house. Well, actually, I did do that. My husband, he's a deer hunter, and we do have a few deer horns up on our wall, and I did manage to throw it. He doesn't like it when I do this, but I did manage to throw up a bunch of Santa hats all over them. And I know you deer hunters out there are probably cringing, and for anyone who does not approve of hunting, that is fine. I totally understand that you may have your own opinions, but just to let you know, my husband does not hunt just for horns. He hunts for food for the family, and the only reason why he gets the ones with the horns is because he's not going to shoot a female, and he doesn't want to shoot them young because he wants to give them a chance to have a life and to breed more deer and things like that. So he generally doesn't get deers until they're, quite a bit bigger, a little bit older. And a lot of times he is just happy just to sit out on his hunting blind and just watch the deer. He only gets what he absolutely has to. So, and I respect him for that. He's not a big, oh, look at me, look at the big rack I got type of guy. He's hunts for the family, and we do. I don't eat the venison because I don't like it, but the others in the family do, and it does help. So, but that being said, our subject today is going to be like a bunch of random stuff like it usually is, but mostly centered around ADHD. I did want to talk a little bit about me being a mom with my kids, and well, the autism too that goes along with that, and a little bit on how we deal with Christmas, and all the stuff that goes on with that, and maybe touch on some supports that I have. But we'll see, because I'm not sure how much. How much time. So, being a mom with ADHD and not knowing it, me looking back on it, it was kind of challenging. Although I think it did help me relate to my kids a little bit more. In some ways. I mean, I wish I had known, because, as I said before, my middle son got kind of overlooked a little bit with the autism part, because, I just like, oh, he's just like me. Those things he's doing, I did as a kid. So, he takes after me. There's nothing, about that. Not that there was anything wrong with it, because there wasn't anything wrong with it, but just nothing about that. Yeah. Had I known, then I could have been like, okay, let's get you some supports here and things like that. So, I feel bad about that. But I think the kids had a lot of fun with me as a mom. We did a lot of things together. I introduced the kids big time. Like, I have a big fascination with old B movies, old black and white movies, the old sci-fi movies where you can see like the strings on the spaceships as they're going across fake starfield, things like that. I love those type of movies, and old black and white like Godzilla movies, things like that. So my younger two, they grew up watching a lot of that with me, and my middle son really loved Godzilla, and one of his hyperfixations was Godzilla, so he knew like everything about all the different Godzillas and stuff. And then he went into Greek mythology, and then he went into history and things like that, so that was pretty cool. But my husband liked zombie movies and scary movies, so my youngest adored watching movies with his dad, and so he grew up not the zombie movies, not scary movies, not the slasher type, movies, but just like the jump scare movies. He grew up liking those. But one of the things that we did, I used to take, little videos of the kids, how mothers do. They just take, oh, he's cute, he's doing that, let me take a video of it, that type of thing. But then I started thinking, this is kind of like boring, because what am I going to do with these little video clips? Like, who's going to want to watch like a kid, like cutely petting a puppy for 5 seconds, Like, to me, I just thought, well, what was the point of that? You should actually have a point. So I started making little mini movies with my kids. I started taking the clips that I had, or getting them together and us going and getting the clips and putting them all together and making short little adventure movies. Adventures in the Land of Silver Tree is what we called it. And we had, what I'd do is I would take the kids out, and we would go, and they would have like swords and shields and little helmets and things like that, and we would run around town, and they would go different places in town, and they would do different things, and I would take video clips of them and then put them all together with music. And the later ones, I learned how to use special effects, and I was able to put in like lightning strikes and all sorts of stuff, and with the music, and it ended up being pretty cool when I finally figured out how to do all that. But And they had the spy version because the boys were really into, the younger two were really into spy movies, so we did like a spy version. But one time, my middle son, instead of keeping saying middle son, I just want to keep names out. We'll just call him Pal. Pal wanted to do one on his own, wanted to direct one on his own, and he was probably like 8 or 9. And so he got me, his little brother, and one of his older sisters and her boyfriend, and we all went down to the roadside park. and I'm not kidding, it was like right next to the road. It's up on like this little hill, but right next to the road. And he brought us all down there. We had capes and swords and helmets, and I had like a floofy little shirt on that made me look like a princess and stuff like that. And he was directing us. So his little brother had like a little thing on to be like a dragon, and he directed all of us, and we had, I think it was probably about 15 minutes of footage. So yeah, that was kind of interesting because we were like right on the side of the road and cars driving by were really wondering what we were doing, but it was kind of fun. And I still have them. I have them on, I put them on a CD, and the boys actually brought them to school and played them for their class one time on a free day that they had, and at least a couple of the kids liked them. But so they had fun stuff like that. Oh yeah, and I would dress up and go to the school like on Halloween and stuff. And last time I did it, I was the only parent that came and dressed up, and I was kind of embarrassed. And my littlest one, he said, I told him I was embarrassed. He says, "Mom, I think you're beautiful, and it's okay that you're dressed up." And I was a witch, all dressed in black with a long cloak and a staff with a crystal ball on the top of it. But that was sweet of him. But and I didn't have the world's greatest memory. Obviously, we all know that. And they would take advantage of that. I think they enjoyed that, because if I was having a particular bad day and the boys had gotten into trouble or something like that, and I was having a bad day with, my stuff going on, and if say they got grounded or something, I'd say, hey, you can't play video games, for the day or a couple days or whatever. And then they would come back like a half an hour later and ask if they could, in a weird way, they would ask, hey, can we play video games? And I always kind of thought that was kind of odd, okay, weirdly, they're asking me. And I said, yeah, go ahead. About an hour or so later, I would go, hey, wait a minute, you guys are supposed to be grounded, because then I would remember. And then I couldn't necessarily, take it back away from them, because I felt like, like the bad guy, like, oh, I just told them they could, and now, oh, I remember. So they did that quite a bit. They figured out how to hack Mom. So I think they really enjoyed that as a kid. But in holidays, okay, like this is a thing for holidays for me. Like when they were all young, and I was buying Christmas presents for all of them, and then I would hide Christmas presents all over the house, and I would hide it in weird spots, and I would hide like for months stuff. And then when Christmas would come around, I'd find everything, put it underneath the tree and stuff like that. But every year I would, months later, weeks or months later, I would find Christmas presents hidden in spots that I totally forgot about. And I even totally forgot about on Christmas Day that they had them. And I would find them and I'd be like, oh, hey, this was for Christmas, here, and give it to them. They'd have to open it up. Or the other thing would be I would forget what present went for who, and I did that one year. I had bought like a specific special present for one of the boys, and I accidentally gave it to the other boy. But luckily, they shared their toys. They were really good about sharing their toys, and so it wasn't a problem. But I felt so horrible because then I realized it, and I just felt so horrible. And I would forget stuff like for school, not all the time, but quite a bit of the time, or I'd forget they would tell me something, and I'd be like, why didn't you tell me? Well, we did tell you, Mom, and it's due now. You know, we need it now, but we did tell you. And I feel a lot of shame about that, a lot of guilt about that, because, I just didn't remember, and sometimes, sometimes they missed out on events, not all the times, but sometimes they would miss out on events or be late because that's the other thing. I have time blindness, and, I have heard of people on the internet, at least this one woman in particular, and I'm not disparaging her because her circumstances and the way she lives things might be vastly different than what I think, but I know that she had put out there online that she thought her boss should allow her to be late to work every day because she has time blindness, which will make her late. For me, yes, I have time blindness. Yes, I was constantly late up until I got better at it. But, for my supports I use. But for me, I would never go to my boss and say, hey, I'm just going to be late all the time. I'm just going to deal with it. Suck it up. Let me be late. For me, I feel like whatever my traits are, whatever my issues are that I'm having, whether it be my memory, whether it be time blindness, whether it be whatever, it is my responsibility to get the supports I need to try to do better. Well, it's not that I'm doing bad, not that I'm doing wrong. I don't mean it that way. I mean just to try to navigate the neurotypical world better. Like for me, time blindness, you see all these funny memes about ADHD and autism and stuff online, and a lot of times it's just people are doing it to make light of it, to make awareness of it, because if people laugh about something, they'll remember it. But these things are actually really a problem for us. And, you can see ones where, they might just look down at their phone for a minute, and then 2 hours later, they look up and it's 2 hours later, and where'd the time go? Well, that stuff happens. More often than I would like to say. I cannot tell you how many times I've sat at my kitchen table and look at my phone, go, okay, I'll be like 15 minutes here, and I look like it's an hour. And, well, I got like 2 seconds, I need to check this real quick, then I'm going to go to bed, and it's like 2 hours later. That happens. And I honestly have no clue where the time goes. But for me, and I was chronically late, and my dad used to get on me big time when I was a kid about being late. And I would be late to the boys, my kids, all their appointments and things like that, or my doctor's appointments, things like that, or make my husband late all the time. And I've gotten better at it because I've learned how to do like some supports for myself. Like if I had an appointment that I'm scheduled that's months out, I would put it in my calendar because I live off my Google Calendar, I live off my Alexa devices, I live off my phone notification and my watch, which buzzes me and vibrates my wrist for things. So if I put something in my calendar and it's months down the road or weeks down the road, I will put it in specifically for the wrong time. I will put it in for an hour earlier. And my son, my middle son, pal, he used to hate when I did that, because by the time that day would come around, I would forget that I had done that, and I would do everything I could, try really hard to get there on time, and sometimes we would actually get there on the time it says, but then we're really an hour early, and he would hate that because we would sit and wait. And even if I was late, I would still be early, because I could be like, hey, a half an hour late, but yet no, really, I'm a half an hour early. And it worked out tremendously well, only now I do remember what. Not all the times, because sometimes I wonder, ooh, wait, did I accidentally put the right time, or did I do that trick myself thing again? And, so that I'm really pushing myself to make sure I get on time just in case I didn't do the, But if it's like the next week, I'll remember, hey, I did make it for this time early, but I still abide by that time because I know myself. If I go, oh, well, no, I really got an extra hour, yeah, I'll be late. And I used to be late to work all the time, like anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes late all the time. And I used to joke with my boss, well, that's just my suggested start time. I don't know why he didn't fire me, but I've gotten better. I've gotten better about being on time for work, and although recently because of the weather change, I've been a few minutes late here and there, like 1 to 2, 3 minutes late. But part of that's the driving. Part of it's, I forget that it's winter now, and I have to go start my car up, and if I'm not, looking out the window, I will totally forget that, I need to do that. Well, when winter first starts, that's how it is for me. I forget that it's actually winter. And so now my husband, he, especially if it's been really bad out the night before, he will remind me. He'll send me reminders, because he leaves before I do for work, and he'll send me a reminder, hey, make sure you warm up your car before you go. So he does hold my hand quite a bit, so I'm blessed with that. But so that's my supports for there. We've already been through some of my autism supports with my loop ear things I put in my ears. My eyes are super sensitive to the sun, and I used to wear sunglasses all the time, even indoors. And I really should start doing that again, because I know that's a sensory thing for me, and I've quit wearing them all the time like I was. Part of the reason is because my sunglasses are so scratched up that I can't even stand to try to look through them. And then the new pairs that I got, I have to have a kind that fits just right and sits just right on my face and is comfortable, and the lenses have to be big, and it has to be just right, or I won't wear them, because it'll be just the feel of it will. And so with mine messed up like they are, I've been able to find another pair that I'm comfortable with, so I haven't been wearing them, and I should, because I get migraines if I don't. And I really need like a lighter pair that I could wear indoors, because the lights sometimes are really way too bright for me. And so I've been hesitant, because it's like, now I gotta find 2 pairs. I need a darker one for outside, I need a lighter one for inside, just to dull it a little bit. And I don't want to spend the money on it, but I should. So, and then I have my friends who, I've been able to speak up a little bit. I don't have a lot of friends, but the few people that I do trust, that I have talked about this, because I really haven't talked to many people about, me, this stuff. But the few people I have, they are very supportive, and like I teach a kids class once a week, and I help. I'm one of the co-teachers, and the main teacher is a lady that I've known for many, many years, a very kind and wonderful lady. And and she used to be like an actual teacher. And so I have told her, and I've explained to her, because I know she's seen me do this, and I've never really explained to her why, but I will walk off into the other room, after I've done my part or before my part. If the kids are being like really loud and everything's just too bright, too much movement, too much whatever, I'll walk into the other room by myself and be there for 3-4 minutes, just alone. And I finally had the courage to tell her, hey, this is why. The kids are a little bit too much for me because of, it's overstimulating to me. I just need a minute. And she's really good about that. And I'll just go and just go sit off there just for a minute. Just a couple minutes is all I need, really, just to relax for a second. So just things like that. But then I have my really good days where I just sail through the day. But I have bad days where I get overwhelmed and I'll shut down, and sometimes, like I kind of touched on before, it might take me a couple of days to come out of it. I never understood why I did this before, but it used to be where I would shut down. I would shut down for everything. I wouldn't answer phone calls. I wouldn't answer text. I wouldn't get on social media. I wouldn't do anything. I was just totally, my best friend would call me and I would ignore her phone calls. And I always felt bad about it, but I just, I cannot people today. And, I always thought, I didn't really know why I was doing it, but I just knew I just couldn't. And now I know why. It was burnout. And now I can actually let them know, hey, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just burnout. So yeah. The only thing I babbled on enough in this episode. Yeah, I'm looking at the time. It's almost time to get out of here. Let you guys get on with your lives. But yeah, next time around maybe we'll do something new. I don't know. But I really am thankful that you joined me for our chat. And I hope you have a blessed day. And thank you for stopping by. More later. Bye.